that is a new rule, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Isn't it true that that rule was not in place on January 9th of this year?
No, that's not true.
Is that a written rule?
That is a rule, and the rule saying that there's no pin light, there's no lights allowed on cameras in city council. That's correct.
Is that city, is that part of the city code?
That's in the city rule saying there's no lights allowed in the camera. The reason why is because the pin lights, those cameras hurt the eyes of the commissioners and the people that are testifying, including the people that are in the audience. So they asked that they put that in there because of that reason. The commissioner has a hard time seeing those lights.
And you're telling me that on January 9th, there was a written rule saying that the pin lights on cameras were not allowed?
Yes, there is. No lighting, not necessarily just on cameras. No pin lights. Piercing, no pin lights, whatever you want to call them, lights.
Now, you said that during this incident, there was another person, I believe it was a gentleman wearing an orange shirt, was in a wheelchair or a scooter. You said that he was screaming, "Don't touch him."
That's correct.
And that gentleman, his name is Joe Walsh, correct?
That's correct.
And Joe Walsh is somebody who is also a regular at City Hall, isn't he?
Every week.
He's had his share of disputes with City Hall.
Yes.
And City Hall's tried to eject him for periods of time.
Joe Walsh?
Yes.
Joe Walsh disrupts, and the city council goes into recess, he will also be asked to leave, yes.
And Mr. Walsh actually filed a federal lawsuit, didn't he?
Yeah.
And you don't know that?
I don't have to know that. That's irrelevant to what I'm here for. I don't know anything about what Joe Walsh does because it doesn't pertain to me.
You didn't know that he filed a federal lawsuit as a result of being excluded from City Hall?
Why would I know? I didn't exclude him.
My question was, you didn't know that?
No, I heard that he had done that. I didn't personally know that. I've heard that. Again, it's going to be hearsay unless I know that, and I don't know for a fact that happened.
Does it surprise you?
Does it surprise me that he filed a lawsuit?
Yes.
No, actually it doesn't.
And isn't it true that City Hall changed its policies as a result of that lawsuit?
Possibility.
Mr. Davis, it's not appropriate for you to react to the witness's testimony in the manner in which you're doing. You need to stop reacting.
I'm like,
Stop
yeah.
it. Just sit there and listen.
Yeah, whatever.
I want to talk about the hallway.
Okay.
You said there was some art on the wall?
Yes.
And the wall was painted, it was kind of a beige color?
The wall is beige color. I don't know that it's painted. I believe that it's some kind of a texture that's on that wall.
So, in the art itself is kind of placed at various points. It's little separate objects, maybe intended to be a collective item, but it's all over the wall, correct? It's not one big picture?
That entire structure is the wall of art. That's exactly what it is. That is, that artist, that wall belongs to that artist. Whether it be the texturing of what the wall looks like, but that whole display belongs to that artist.
Now, the beige color is paint, is it not?
I can't tell you that. It's texturized. I don't know. I didn't paint it. It was there when I came to work there.
Do you know that it's not paint?
I know that it's a piece of art. That's what there's several pieces like that throughout City Hall that are displays from different artists. I do know that entire wall belongs to that artist. So I don't know whether it's paint or it's texturized paper or what it is.
Would you be surprised if it were paint?
I wouldn't be surprised. an artist paints with paint, with oils, with texturizer, they do a lot of different things, so no, I wouldn't be surprised.
Would it surprise you if it were latex paint that you might use on your house wall?
I can tell you for a fact that it's not latex paint. It is a texturized of some sort, whether it be paint or wallpaper or something, but it's definitely texturized.
So you took a close look at it then?
I work there,
Yeah.
so I always watch, because my job is to protect the building, the people, and the building is. So we're always doing our patrols and we watch everything.
No further questions?
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Sutton.
What is an injection?
The injection is where we ask somebody to leave. It could be for a certain amount of time, and they're able to return after that ejection and according to the time of the ejection.
So you mentioned that Mr. Walsh had been ejected. You mentioned some other interactions with Mr. Davis, perhaps some other people.
Sure.
Does being ejected mean you can't return to City Hall?
No. When they get ejected from city council, that means they can't return for city council for that week. And the reason we say that is because city council starts on a Wednesday. It goes all day and can run into Thursday. So that's what we consider the city council. So when you get ejected, that means you can't come back to city council for the week. You're able to return after city council. So you're not, oftentimes people get ejected from city council, but not from city hall. So they can actually, we get them out of chambers and say, you're just ejected from city council, you can't come back, but it doesn't mean you can't come to city hall. The only time that they get ejected from both city hall and city council is if they go out and the disruption continues out in city hall and disrupts the business that's being conducted. That's when you get ejected from both city council and city hall. At that point, it becomes a 24-hour ejection.
So if somebody's ejected from from a council meeting, is it possible that they'd be standing just outside in that community area for the rest of the day?
Happens often, yes.
And is it possible they'd be back at city council meetings the very next week?
Yes,
Does that, have you seen that before?
often, happens often.
You mentioned that the painting or the texture on that wall of art is some sort of texture.
It's a texture. I don't know whether it's a paint texture or wallpaper texture or part of the art. I just know there's texture to it, yes.
Do you have any personal knowledge about the cleanup efforts regarding the wall?
I know that when the janitor went to clean it, he had to use something to clean it off, yes.
Okay.
I don't know what it was used. I just know that he cleaned it with something to get the blood off. He had to make sure it was sanitized.
And to your knowledge today, are there any differences from what the art looked like before January 9th to what it looks like now?
I can't personally see any difference, but again, I'm not the artist. I don't know what an artist may say, hey, that's not the same way, just like we would if we break something, it's not the same piece. I can't be the judge of what that is. I can say it looks the same to me, where the artist might walk in and say, what happened here? It looks different, or it's a different color, or what it might be. So it'd be hard for me to say, I think it's different. To me, it looks the same.
Okay.
Is that fair?
But you are aware that there was a cleanup effort on the wall?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right, and does either party need this witness to remain available on this case, or is she excused?
I would ask that she be excused.
All right, thank you. We are excused.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I would ask that the witness remain available for defendant's case in chief.
All right, do you have her under subpoena as well?
No, we don't.
I will not require her to remain available.
Okay.
All right, you are excused. All right, Mr. Simmel, you can begin with your next witness.
State House Chris Alvarez.
perjury, you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You can just be seated right here in the witness box and state and spell your full name.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Christopher Alvarez. My first name is spelled C-H-R-I-S, T-O-P-H-E-R. My last name is A-L-V-A-R-E-Z.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us where you're currently employed?
I'm currently employed under G4S.
And do you have any other jobs or anything else going on in your life career-wise at the moment?
Career-wise, I'm in the Marine Corps Reserves.
Okay.
About a month.
You said you've been there for about a month?
I leave every month.
You leave every month. How long have you been in the reserves?
It's almost 3 years now, so two and a couple months.
So 2 years and a couple months in Marine Corps Reserves. How long have you been with G4S?
About 2 years.
And what's your current position with G4S?
I'm in the mayor's protective detail.
And has that been your responsibility the entire time you've been with G4S? Have you had any other duties while you've been working for G4S?
I started as a regular security officer and then got moved into the detail.
Okay, how long have you been in the mayor's detail?
A year now.
Okay. And what are your responsibilities as the mayor's detail?
We coordinate his movements as much as we can. We liaison with any law enforcement and any events where he has to go to. Basically solidify his safety wherever he's going and where he's going.
Were you on duty on January 9th of this year?
Yes.
And were you on duty at City Hall January 9th?
Yes.
And were you present for any disruption that occurred during the city council meeting that day? And do you recall if Mr. Davis was present at that time?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember, from your perspective, if he was involved in the disruption in any way?
He was.
Can you tell us what you saw that began that?
So where I was seated, I get a decent view of the crowd.
Why do you have a decent view of the crowd? Where are you seated?
Well, I'm seated closest to the commissioners and the mayor for the safety of people coming up to the front to speak.
So you're at the front of the chambers?
Correct.
And would your back be towards the commissioners or towards, I'm sorry, would you be facing the commissioners or would you be facing everybody else?
I would be facing, I would have the commissioners to my right and the crowd to my left.
Got it.
Facing a good standpoint between both of them, mainly focusing myself towards the crowd.
Okay, understood. So no, keep going. Tell us about the beginning of the disruption.
Well, I noticed a bright light to the left of me, and I noticed Mr. Davis was filming and had the lights on. I kept looking back and think Sergeant Pelosi, but the officer Pelosi was able to see that the light was there as well. Went over and spoke with Mr. Davis.
Were you able to hear the words being exchanged between Sergeant Pelosi and the defendant from where you were seated at that point in time?
They were whispering.
Okay. What were you able to see as far as their contact went?
I could see the light on and off, and I recall then Mr. Davis getting loud saying he was not going to turn off the light, and then he started moving the light towards Officer Pelosi.
Okay. And what happens next?
After that, I believe Mr. Walsh began speaking loudly, kind of instigated the problem. And then Mayor Wheeler said everything would be at recess. I think Dorothy and Cheryl called a evacuation of council chambers, so everybody was to leave council chambers.
So you said that the call was made to chambers, did you actually hear that announcement being made?
I heard, yes, Cheryl, you know,
And do you remember what she said specifically?
council is being cleared, everybody else.
And about how far are you from where she's standing when that announcement's made?
Same distance you and I.
And do you remember where